Hi, this is Tim of the 1916 Company. Welcome and thanks for logging on. It's our first weekend inventory show in a while. So get your popcorn, gear up. We're going to look through a variety of fun independent brand watches today. That is the theme. All these watches are in stock and for sale, so check the description below and reach out to Team Mosso at the1916company.com for purchase and pricing. We're starting with the Voutilainen Vingt-8, a model launched in 2011. It features a distinctive Voutilainen house style with these lovely teardrop style lugs on a 39mm diameter white gold case with a flinke enamel dial. So you can see there are three different guilloche cuts at center. There's a translucent grand faux enamel on top of that, so it's enamel and guilloche. And then the outer dial, like the dial base itself, made of sterling silver. We have white gold applique numerals and indices, and we have compound hands. They're actually made up of different parts. The blued elements are steel, and then the matte silver elements are white gold. Now, the watch, unusually for high horology, and I'm not really sure why this is, but it does feature hacking seconds when many of its rivals do not. Voutilainen, now a fully integrated manufacturer, case, dial, and movement all made by Carrier's various companies. A very traditional and modest unbranded crown here. The watch is 11.6 thick and it's about 47.8 from lug tip to lug tip. Now turn it over, you can see caliber Vingt-8. Here we have a full balance bridge, a free sprung balance, a double direct impulse natural style escapement, an overcoil hairspring, a full balance bridge mirror polished and rounded all the way around. And you can see it sits on top of two mighty pillars. 65-hour manual wind power reserve, 2.5 hertz beat rate, finishing that really needs no explanation. Your eyes do not deceive. I particularly like the solarization of that ratchet wheel. Now the timepiece features a double direct impulse Breguet style natural escapement. You can see the two blued wheels. There is no lever here. You have a little blocker that freezes the one that isn't operating. That's the thing that's alternating back and forth, but it is directly impulsing the balance. Voutilainen boasts that his factory makes every part of this except the hairspring, the shock protection, and the stones themselves, the synthetic rubies. Really cool piece, wears nicely on the wrist, more substantial than you might think. It's got some weight to it. A handsome watch, but not a huge one, so particularly if you have a smaller wrist or a taste for traditional sizes, this is going to be a really great match, and it will fit easily underneath the dress cuff. Lovely strap. You can see a combination of leathers, different colors, contrasting stitch, Voutilainen branded strap, and a Voutilainen branded teardrop profile pin buckle. I also have a watch that could be considered something of a natural rival to the Voutilainen. From Bethune, this is a DB25 US market special edition from 4 years ago that was only made in 10 pieces. Now, what sets this apart is that it features a fired yellow polished grade 5 titanium dial with blue accents. So what appears to be gold is actually titanium, and it's an oxide layer that creates the color, just as it is a different oxide layer that creates the blue tones. Now this was a special series. You could see individual numbering on the back. This is 2 of 10, and all of the Bethune tech is on the case back. So if you have a taste for more conservative styles, here we have a round case, fixed lugs, solid dial. This is the Bethune for those who might be coming from a Jaune or a Voutilainen, Moritz Grossman, or Holy Trinity. It is not that the finishing or that the engineering or the patented features are any less ambitious, it's just that they're on the back of the watch this time. Now it's only 10.1 millimeters thick. It's broader across the wrist than the Voutilainen. It's a 42mm case with a 49.8mm lug-to-lug span. The dial actually isn't flat. You can see it has this toroidal outer surface with the sectors and the numerals. Then inboard, we have gold leaf, very subtly portraying the distant celestial bodies of the Milky Way, and then larger inserts of solid gold to create the near planets and stars. Turn it all over, deltoid-style barrel bridge, 2 barrels, manual wind, cannot accidentally be overwound, 6 days of power reserve versus 65 hours on the carry. We still have a full balance bridge here, and this one is actually rounded and polished, just like the Voutilainen, but with 3 shock protection springs, 2 of which are made in-house. That's a patented feature. The balance, like Carrier's, is made in-house. This one is titanium with white gold masses, and the hairspring curve is proprietary. Although the alloy itself is not made inside Bethune, the curve is shaped manually. That's a patented curve. No fewer than 6 patents protecting this movement. You can see the proprietary silicone escape wheel to reduce friction. You can also see that the decoration is outstanding. We have a barrel bridge cap on top of the barrel bridge, and each edge features anglage, so you have double stacked anglage. You have Côte de Bethune, which are mirrored types of Côte de Genève. Each side mirrors the other. You can also appreciate that we've got a blued and polished brace for the triple parachute shock protection running up the center of that bridge. We have polished sinks for the jewels. Note that the lids of the two barrels are solarized, and then we'll get really close here. You can see, as with the Voutilainen, the ratchet wheel teeth have been micro-beveled. Very special. Of course, de Bethune, mechanically a little bit more robust than the Voutilainen. The Voutilainen, a little bit more artisanal in its appearance and traditional in its architecture. The Voutilainen is shorter across the wrist, the de Bethune is lighter. The Voutilainen is smaller in diameter, but the de Bethune is thinner. So there is no wrong answer. They are both spectacular. All right, so that is de Bethune. Now we're going to talk about a brand that does things the fun way almost all the time, starting with this 2024 launch. This is the H. Moser & C Pioneer Center Second Concept Citrus Green. So I think it kind of speaks for itself. It's the concept dial, so no printing, no indices, no complications, no details whatsoever, and yet you know who made this. And the citrus coloration from a sort of lemon to a lime as we move from the center to the edge. We'll do a loom shot here so you can appreciate all this watch has to offer, not just the hands, but also the chapter ring. It's a traditional 42.8 millimeter Pioneer Center Second, 120 meters water resistant with recessed and coined case flanks. You can see it's got a lovely blue strap, and on the bottom, perforations. You can see the movement. Moser provides caliber HMC 201, which is a more attractive and updated aesthetic treatment of the long-running and versatile HMC 200. It's as tough as ever, free-sprung with a full balance bridge, fairly thick magic lever style bidirectional pawl-based winding. You can see it here. This is the winding system. This is the drivetrain. What's changed here is we now have a heavily skeletonized rotor, skeletonized bridges that show you the winding system and the drivetrain, a lovely nickel anthracite coating that makes everything more intense and really plays up the shading of features like the double-crested Moser stripes, as they're called. And these are actually gold gilded jewel sinks to give you the look of vintage chaton style jewel settings. Still has stop seconds, still has a 72-hour power reserve, and still has Moser's in-house free-sprung balance, hairspring, and escapement as they make those parts in-house. An everyday friendly and versatile watch, and a fun one to wear. It wears nicely on my wrist. My daily driver is actually the 40 millimeter version of this watch. You can see how dramatically domed that sapphire is. Really, really cool. Probably my favorite Moser dial in a while, maybe for all time. Okay, Moser also went super high horology. Moser's high horology, but this is true haute de gamme. A model made in steel in 100 pieces, launched in 2024. This is the H. Moser & C Streamliner cylindrical tourbillon skeleton Alpine Motorsports. So it is a cylindrical hairspring flying tourbillon in a skeletonized caliber HMC 811, and it celebrates Moser's partnership with Alpine Motorsport, which races in Formula One, but also in French national level GT racing and international world endurance championships, such as the 24 Hours of Le Mans. So we have this machined spinel translucent dial that is cambered, and it's a unique aesthetic. There is no branding on the dial, neither Moser nor Alpine, and yet you know who made this. All of the loom is ceramic based. It's called Globalite, and it's actually quite easy to see at night. The case is 42.3 millimeters in diameter, but that's also the lug-to-lug dimension. So it's basically a case that can be measured round or square. Being lugless, it wears really easily on a small wrist. Remember, it's 42.3 in diameter, but also 42.3 lug to lug. So look how far inboard of the edge of my wrist this watch is. We have a boxed and cambered sapphire. We have some recess in the case band, 120 meters water resistant, a rubber strap to match the Alpine Motorsport signature blue color. We've got a trigger actuated folding clasp. We've got a skeletonized movement with a skeletonized rotor. Now the movement has a 74-hour power reserve, and a flying tourbillon which has no upper bridge to block your view. It also uses a marine chronometer style cylindrical hairspring. So it has overcoils top and bottom, but by crafting the hairspring in a cylindrical construction, it has an even more concentric breathing property than a standard overcoil. So this is even better than, for example, an overcoil with a Breguet outer and a Grossman inner curve. The cylindrical hairspring is made by Moser in-house at its precision engineering subsidiary. For that matter, so is the free-sprung balance, so is the escapement. The finishing is incredibly attractive. As much as anything else, the architecture, the relative shape, positioning, proportion of the pieces really gives it a lot of beauty. You have silver elements, you have nickel anthracite elements, and the decoration on the tourbillon carriage itself is quite attractive. On the reverse side, it bears all from the open mainspring barrel that shows you the coiling of the mainspring to the ceramic bearings that provide a broad brace for the underside of the single-side braced flying tourbillon. It's a really cool watch. Moser and Alpine on the back, and of course 100 pieces, a limited edition. Just a lot of fun with your sports watch, and something that's a good time whether you're a car fan or not. Okay, we're not quite done with our independent brands. They're still coming, hard and heavy. Here's a piece from just the last model year, made in only 10 examples as a tribute to Boston-based retailer Shreve, Crump & Low, ghosted on the dial, the Laurent Ferrier Classic Origin Shreve, Crump & Low. Now this is a steel watch, 40 millimeters in diameter, in the case that used to be known as the galet, because it is like a smoothed pebble that's been shorn of its hard edges by eons in a flowing stream. So 40 in diameter, it's a beautiful form with a traditional unbranded onion-style crown, a lovely granular blue dial center with white gold indices, white gold assegai or spear-inspired hands, and then copper or salmon-toned details. A truly beautiful traditional three-hand time-only dress watch. Shreve, Crump & Low with that tiny little bit of cyan, beautifully discreet on this special edition. Turn it over, the movement is nicely executed. You can see it features a combination winding click and spring that is a signature of the company that helped Ferrier design this movement, which is La Fabrique du Temps, the super haute de gamme branch of Louis Vuitton. 80-hour power reserve, 3 Hertz beat rate. We have a free sprung balance, superior 6-position adjustment, one more than a standard chronometer. You can see an overcoil hairspring and a beautiful skeletonized Liga-formed escapement. Liga is a galvanic lithography. It's almost the opposite of DRIE, which is an etching process to create silicon parts. That is a reductive process. DRIE is an additive process that allows these super fine elements to be created. You can see how the teeth of the escape wheel are skeletonized. You can't do that with machining. You can't do that with CNC or electrospark erosion, but you can do that with Liga. You can also see the bevels are a mile wide, rounded, mirrored, the real deal. We have beveling inside all of the jewel sinks, which looks fantastic. We have a lovely media blast on the surfaces. All the screw heads are mirror polished with chamfered slots and circumference. We even have a really nice, sharp, and accomplished inward angle that you could see on the cock for the escape wheel. Really well done. And a snap case back in very traditional fashion. Throwing it on the wrist, you can see it's only about 47 millimeters lug to lug, so it wears nice and compact. It's on a beautiful nubuck style sanded calf leather strap. And then on the bottom, Alcantara, which is a material often associated with the interiors of super premium, high performance, and racing cars. To remind you that Laurent Ferrier, the man, was actually a quite accomplished race car driver in the 70s and 80s. Of course, he was also an accomplished watchmaker, but the fun part is that he was also very good at driving cars. He was not merely a gentleman driver in the parlance of polite company. A gentleman driver is a guy who pays a few times a year to drive a race car alongside a professional. And if you've ever seen Pro-Am golf, let me get this fingerprint off this dial. If you've ever seen Pro-Am golf, that's kind of like how gentleman drivers are. Now what we've got here is a watch that frankly baffles me. Not because I don't understand why it's great, but because I don't understand why others don't acknowledge that it's great. This is a model originally launched in 2007 from Greubel Forsey of La Chaux de Fonds. It is the Tourbillon Vingt-8. So this is a 24-second angled free-sprung tourbillon. So it makes a circuit every 24 seconds. That's more than twice the speed of a conventional tourbillon. When combined with multi-position adjustment, the overcoil hairspring, and the free-sprung architecture, that makes for an extraordinarily effective and chronometrically relevant tourbillon in a wristwatch. Most wristwatch tourbillon regulators are purely ornamental. This one is actually designed to be a better timekeeper, and you could see it from the side. The decoration is second to none. It's as good as the Voutilainen or the Bethune that you saw earlier, quite a bit better than the Mosers, and even has a significant edge over the Ferrier. Look at those rounded, polished surfaces. Look at how the steel is executed. This dial, although gray, is made of solid gold. So is the scale for the power reserve. The case is 43.5 millimeters in diameter, 16.3 thick, 52 from lug to lug. And some of these features, like the slight inflection of the concave lug, really get lost in online images. The movement is huge, 36.4 millimeters in diameter. It's made of German silver, or Maillot, since we're not in Germany. We're in La Chaux-de-Fonds, where Greubel Forsey is made. And then there is a rhodium plate on top of it to give it this silvery sheen. Now you can see it's wire brush frosted to give it this fascinating surface texture. And then you have bevels that are as broad and rounded and hand-finished as they come. You can also see the same level of detail lavished on the interior spokes and circumference of the wheels. We have this lovely solarization below on the base plate. We have golden chaton cups to remind us of how pocket watches would have been made in La Chaux-de-Fonds during the 19th century. And the movement, again, 36.4 millimeters, is designed to fit a large case. Greubel Forsey having no trouble building a movement for the case. No compromises here. Why would you have anything less than a hand and glove fit? We've got engine turning on the base plate below. We've got a solid gold nameplate. Note we have both polished and fire blued screws, and that the blued screws are enormous. And in spite of the manic tourbillon, we do have 3 days of power reserve via twin stacked, well, I guess they're actually side by side. Some Greubel Forsey barrels are stacked, so twin side-by-side fast barrels, which means they make, I believe, a full rotation every 3.2 hours. It helps to reduce the fluctuation of torque to the escapement as the mainsprings unfurl. And it's not a hard watch to wear. This one's actually on a more recent Greubel Forsey strap, and it's actually animal-based. It's, plant-based, so it's not animal-based. The idea since 2021 at Greubel Forsey is they've been rolling out these plant-based straps, and while there is a humane motive, there are also practical advantages for those who simply don't care, which is to say that this material can better tolerate water, better tolerate sweat. You can wash it off and expect it to survive. It's softer on the wrist, less likely to tear, and longer lasting. So there are some concrete advantages. Even if you are okay in sacrificing a few young cows, this will give you more and better. And more and better is what a brand like this should deliver. We have a double folding clasp, which you can see is white gold, like the watch itself, and quite substantial. It's a heavy watch in the hand, but again, on my wrist, which is rather small, you don't get the sense that it's too big. It's definitely substantial. But then again, it's a beautiful vitrine for its contents. As an art museum you can wear, one might even say it's fairly small. And then we're going to finish up with something that may be unique. Bethune's DB1 was the company's first product, launched back in 2002, and only 49 examples of the DB1 have been documented in existence. This one may rewrite the book a little bit because I'm not sure if it's counted among the total, as this watch was retailed in 2010, long after the retirement of the DB1 series. Now, 28 DB1s of the 49 were logged as white gold, which this is, but this one features a diamond paved case band all the way around in twin row settings. Now the watch is beautiful, being only about 47 lug to lug, 8.7 millimeters thick and 42 in diameter. This particular white gold, as was the practice on the DB1s, features a rhodium plate, so it is truly blinding white like titanium or platinum, which is why it doesn't have that warm tone of conventional white gold without rhodium, or even gray gold, which is a darker color. Now, it can always be re-rhodium plated if that wears through, but I particularly like the way the rhodium wears off these DB1s and creates a beautiful burnished look with the warmth of the white gold showing through, but this one has yet to be burnished in any way. Very traditional dial. These DB1s are for classicists, so if you maybe don't love the DB28, 27 aesthetic, you don't like the DBs or the DBSs or the 20 series before the 25, this is for you. Round case, fixed lugs, solid dial, and that dial, a very traditional Breguet-inspired aesthetic, silver with blueprint, radially arrayed numerals, including Roman numerals, modified Breguet hands, écaille de poisson, fish scale, guilloche at center. We have a unbranded crown with a coaxial chronograph monopusher, and inside the case, we have the DB 2002 movement, which is actually a movement designed by Denis Flageolet of Bethune and F.P. Jaune when they were partners in a company called THA back in the 90s. Now, this movement's best known for its use on the Cartier Tortue monopoussoir. Denis purchased back the rights to use it for his brand when he founded de Bethune in 2002 with designer and dealer David Zanetta. So this watch right here uses a version of that manual wind monopusher column wheel oscillating pinion clutch movement with a 36 to 40 hour power reserve, and it has the oscillating pinion, which is a very smooth type of lateral clutch. If you looked at how that engaged, it engaged with almost no perceptible jump or displacement. The oscillating pinion is a very precise system that engages almost invariably as smoothly as a vertical clutch. So while it is a traditional lateral clutch, it is also almost seamless in its engagement, and the column wheel ensures that the operation is crisp. How many of these late model white gold diamond caseband DB1s exist? I couldn't tell you. I could only tell you this is the first one I've ever seen, and it's a full set watch. If you love it, reach out to me. All of these watches are for sale. Check the description for more details, but for instant gratification, reach out to Team Mosso at the 1916company.com for purchase and pricing details.